All right, Uncouth Radio. Here we are. We are back again. Sorry, folks, we had some technical difficulties. We had to log out. Facebook was hating on us and our show. So I had to log out and log back in. So here we are. We're going to be talking about the propositions and the candidates today for next week's election. So, I guess we'll have to start over because I don't know when they cut us off, and I want to make sure and the propositions we were talking about were some very important ones. So I guess we'll start over and quickly go through those again. But before we get started, what's your outlook so far on this midterms overall, Ron?
Well, I mean, just kind of, keeping an eye on it from a day-to-day basis. It looks like the turnout isn't what we expected, and I think it's important for people to really. And when I say the turnout, I'm thinking more of a national scale, but locally, I've been hearing a lot of people kind of talk about a few things just in the grocery store, things like that. You have the workers that are standing out front, kind of trying to get different bills and things signed off on, and so I hear more engagement locally, but what I'm hearing in the news, I watch a few of the Roland Martins and those different shows, and kind of just seeing what's going on nationally. It seems like the engagement isn't what we expected. I think we're kind of, as we normally do in the midterms, we're resting on our laurels, and I think it's important now, even more so after the mishap that we had, I guess, back in 2016, that we really focused in and kind of just have a plan on what we can get, reasonably taken care of in a certain time frame, and then holding people accountable for that. We're not going
Well,
to
yeah,
change the
and
entire
I'm
system
glad
in
you
one
said that
one
too.
term.
Like you said, yeah, I'm glad you said as per usual. We kind of sleep on the midterms. I want to tell people. I think this midterm in particular, but most midterm elections are very important because that's the local level, and that's the stuff that affect us directly the fastest, way faster than the presidency, way faster than Congress and the Senate. The local stuff is the stuff that we vote on that touches us on our day-to-day basis. So I'm hoping more people will come out and pay attention and understand what's going on and what's at stake in these midterms elections, because I've learned dealing with this political landscape, the midterm elections is when they be sneaking a whole bunch of shit by us because they know we're not paying attention like we are during the general
Gerrymandering.
election. Yeah, like all the gerrymandering, the redistricting shit, stuff that takes money out of our kids' pockets and takes money from our school. Like that's all the stuff they sneak into the midterms. And a lot of times it's, basically because we haven't really been paying attention. So
Right.
I want you guys to really, pay attention to the midterms. Try to come out, um, and let's
Or
see if we can make a difference. And I'm telling people, look, it's not like the presidency where it takes 4 years to come hit you and be effective. The local elections that we have in the midterms, these things hit us immediately. All
think about
right,
this,
these are the
James.
things. Yeah, these are the things that hit us immediately, and this is how people get on the ballot and win without really campaigning or being for the people because they know they can slip in during the midterm. So, we're gonna start. I'll do the candidates last. I think we should do the candidates last because I know that'll take a little more conversation sometimes. So we'll start with the state propositions, the ones that I feel like the most important state propositions. Shout out to Stephanie too. What up, Stephanie? Washington Prep alumni. She hit me up and like, yo, please walk us through these propositions. And I said, yo, I got you. Because we've been doing it every year that there's an election, and we wasn't gonna slip this year. All right, I'm gonna make sure we stay on that. That's one of the things I want to make sure we always do is during election time. Make sure you guys have the information that you need to have. All right. So the first one is guarantee the right to an abortion. All right. So what your vote means, a yes vote means that you'll be voting to change the California Constitution, barring straight state legislators from passing laws that interfere with a person's right to an abortion or contraceptive. So what happens is if you vote yes, that means you're putting it in the Constitution. It'll be harder for them to flip it on a federal level to stop people from being able to come to California to get an abortion and certain contraceptives. So that's what a yes vote means. A no vote means that you don't enshrine the right to contraceptives or abortion in state constitution, and that means the California legislature will be able to repeal or limit those rights in the future. So pay attention to that. Some people may have religious views of that. Some people
Right.
may have pro-choice and pro-life. We're not here to tell you which one. We're just here to tell you what the proposition is. All
Well, let
right.
me ask Dan, wouldn't the yes be a considered a pro-choice vote and a no be a pro-life choice? Just based on
Yes,
because I think it's hard for a lot of people to decipher what you said. I had to kind of slow down what you were saying
I
as far
appreciate
because
that. So yeah,
you
so a
know,
yes vote would be a pro-choice vote, and a no vote would be considered a pro-life vote.
right. I think that sums it up a lot easier for most
Yeah, no, you're
people who
right, and that puts it in the simplest terms, right?
right.
Proposition 26 legalize sports betting at casinos. All right, so what your vote means. A yes vote means that you be voting to legalize in-person sports betting at certain horse tracks and tribal casinos, legalize roulette and dice games in tribal casinos, establish a fund to collect taxes and other payments to go towards things like educational spending, the general state fund, allow enforcement of certain gambling laws to include a civil lawsuit. A no vote means that you be voting to keep in-person sports betting, roulette, and dice games illegal in California. Enforcement laws will stay the same. So a yes vote means, yo, we're gonna get some dice. We're gonna get craps out here. We get four, five,
Roulette,
six. We get some roulette games, red and black. Hey, I'm for it. I'll interject my personal, my personal on this one, my personal opinion. I'm for it because that means you don't have to go all the way to Vegas to to play roulette. You don't have to go all the way to Vegas uh to to play craps, to play real craps, not hood craps, to play real
right.
craps with red and black and betting on the side and all that. I think that'll be a good thing for California. I think that'll be a good thing when we take you take your significant other out to those concerts at Pachanga and all that, and you got that extra day where you want to be in the casino because sometimes you get bored at them casino when it's only card games. You
You don't
know,
like playing dice for cards? That is the weirdest thing I've ever
it's
seen, man.
so weird because it's like a weird workaround. Like it don't feel the same.
They do not.
You know what I'm saying? It's a weird workaround. So that's that proposition. And then proposition 27, which is very closely connected. Proposition 27 is sports betting online. And these things are kind of intrinsically linked together. A yes vote means that you'll be voting to legalize online sports betting with licensed gaming tribes and companies. Uh, Establish a fund to collect taxes and other payments to go towards homeless services and tribes that don't do sports betting. Allow the California Department of Justice to oversee regulation, including implementing penalties for illegal online sports betting that can accrue daily if left unpaid. All right. Oh, T. Marie said and it keeps jobs for those in the casino. Yeah, because you're gonna have more people coming out too, and that's actually good for the economy. Good call out, T. Marie. A
Yeah.
no vote means you be voting to keep online sports betting illegal in California. Now, to me, I think this one is like Ron said earlier in our post that got blocked. This is basically a lot of it's going to be connected to that new stadium. Having that new stadium, having the Rams here in LA, you want to that they losing a lot of money on not people not being able to do sports books here in LA. So this is kind of a workaround for those sports books where you do sports betting on your phone legally because they have like DraftKings and other things, but
Right.
you know
That's more fantasy sports. That's not
more
really tied
yeah
to the
more
actual
fancy
games themselves. And
exactly.
and I'm sure with that said, I'll just add a disclaimer, Dane, that obviously there will be no gambling on the site at the Ram Stadium. They
Right, right.
strategically placed a street right between the casino and the stadium that you'll be able to walk right across that street to walk to the casino and place those bets. But they have strategically put that in a place where it could be considered a separate location. So, and again, I think we did add the disclaimer. We don't, we're not supporting gambling. We're just kind of going over the measures as they are. But I would tell people, let's start just being strategic, people. If all of our tax dollars are going to Vegas to gamble, I mean, well, come on. If we, I mean, let's start thinking about our clean water. I know here in Compton, like you, Dane, we're talking about water now. We're
Yeah.
talking about we have measures for water. So I think it's time we start being more strategic when we make these votes and cast these. Like, let's be selfish at a certain point. I mean, I love people. I have family in Vegas. I have things like that. But reality is that we're allowing some of the revenue that could come to the state to walk right across the street. This is similar to Texas not having a marijuana law. I mean,
Right.
I get you're the Bible Belt, but you are allowing other states, Colorado and everyone else right around you to receive the revenue that could help your state.
Yep.
So at a certain
Absolutely.
point, let's just start being selfish. This is the selfish midterms, Let's get
Yeah.
our districts, let's get our bills. That's going to bring revenue to our community. And
100%.
remember, we were kids saying, my final point on this. We used to talk about other countries and poor water, right? We used to talk about kids in Africa and in Somalia and in the Middle East about water. Now we're talking about people in Detroit,
Yeah.
people in Pennsylvania, people like
Yeah.
that water issue is getting closer and closer to our homes. So we have to pay attention to this. So with that said, I'm all for it, but I'm biased. So Dane,
Yeah.
take that with a grain of salt.
Rebecca said, "Is this another lottery thing?" Kinda. I know what you mean, Rebecca, in regards to like taking money from this measure for the schools. That sometimes we be feeling like we never see that lottery money for the schools.
Right.
But I think because gambling is going to be so big, it's going to be regulated a lot more. Like this particular kind of gambling. All right. So next, this is something very near and dear to my heart, ladies and gentlemen. So please pay attention. Proposition 28. Arts education in public schools. A yes vote means set aside approximately 1 billion that California already collects in taxes each year for arts and education programs and K through 12 schools. Distribute that money to school districts based mostly on their student enrollment. Those schools with higher numbers of low income students will get additional funding from the new fund. Require schools who receive the money to spend most of it on hiring new staff, though some of the funds could be spent on supplies. A no vote means you will continue distributing funding to schools as California does currently. The state already gives district and charter schools broad freedom to spend their allotments of state funding, and schools could still choose to use it to fund arts programs. So for me, I'm saying this should be a yes because they are setting aside something specifically for the arts. And anybody who went to an inner city school, no matter how good the arts are, when they start running out of money, they take the money from the arts first. If they got to give money to sports, even if the arts brings in more money than sports, even if the arts is winning more than the sports, Washington Prep, they're gonna take the money from the arts and give it to the sports. So please vote yes. This is one that I'm interjecting my personal beliefs into
It's a no-brainer.
because the arts have saved my life, saved many other, young black children, black and brown children lives in the school and changed our lives. Like literally gave us careers, literally helped us travel the world, or at the least gave us full scholarships to be able to go to school when we otherwise wouldn't have had it. So this is
Yeah.
very, very important to me because not only is it put arts back in the schools, but also of the future implications of the kind of citizens that it produces down the line. So I would
Look what
say
we have. Look what we have since they've taken arts out of schools. Look how these
it,
kids, they don't have anything to do.
it's bad, man. It's real bad. Will this include equal amount to the charters? Let me go back and look. Cause I think,
Good question.
yeah, that's a great question, Miss Bradshaw.
Including
Uh,
charter schools. Yeah, on my ballot it says including charter schools.
yes,
How
yes,
much
equal
of
to
that
charter
they'll
schools.
get, we don't know. But it does say, or does it say equal?
Set aside to distribute the money to school
On my
based on.
ballot, it does say including charter schools. So that is partially part of it. How much of that we probably just can't say at this point.
Yeah, I'm looking at this
So you have the break.
detailed. Yes, yes to equal amount to charters.
Okay.
Yes,
That's fair.
that's fair and is very much needed.
Mhm.
All right, now let's look at Prop 29. I know anybody who has Spectrum has been seeing hella commercials about Prop 29.
Right.
So the Prop 29 is kidney dialysis proposition. Proposition 29 would impose new regulations on California's kidney dialysis clinics. Most notably, a physician, nurse, or physician's assistant will always need to be on site. Okay. So a
Who
vote. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was gonna say who uses these kidney facilities in our community, our people. So
Yeah.
we want
You
people.
want
What's
the right
happening is people are
people.
dying. Yeah, people are having
Yeah,
complications, and there's not a professional on site.
I agree. I
So
agree.
I'm sorry for cutting into that, but this is just speaking to us people
Because a lot of those kidney things are popping up in our neighborhoods lately
right
too.
in our
A
neighborhood. Don't It's
lot
not
of
as
them.
yeah.
All right. So what your vote means? A yes vote means kidney dialysis clinics would face new requirements, including having a physician, nurse, or physician's assistant on site during treatment hours. Kidney dialysis clinics will be prohibited from reducing services or closing without approval for state. A no vote means kidney dialysis clinics would not be required to have a physician, nurse, or physician's assistant on site during patient treatment hours. They would continue operating as they do now. So let's get a little deeper into this. What the measure would do, it would create requirements for kidney dialysis clinics to provide life-sustaining treatment for people suffering from chronic kidney disease. If the ballot measure passes, kidney dialysis clinics will have to have at least one physician, nurse practitioner, or physician's assistant on site. I think that should be anyway, with or without a damn proposition.
I'm
Clinics
amazed they're allowed to have a facility in our community and there's no licensed professional. We're
like
dealing
because
with blood.
not even a nurse practitioner or a PA. Like they're not even asking for a full-on doctor. Clinics will be required to report information on infections to state public health officials and to provide patients with a list of doctors who own at least a 5-point stake in the facility, among other requirements. Right now, most patients, physicians design and oversee their treatment plan and refer them to a clinic which carries out the treatment. Federal law requires that a physician visit a patient during dialysis treatment at least once a month. Damn, that's crazy.
Come by every other time you come.
Dude, the measure will prohibit clinics from reducing services or closing without approval from the state and from denying patients treatment based on the type of insurance they have. All right, so listen, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and say for me, it would be a yes vote on this because, like my man Ron said, these dialysis spots are popping up all over the neighborhood. So that means they're supposed to be here to take care of our people, and you can't have. And this to me is a case of them just being cheap. Like they acting like, oh, if you enforce this, we're not gonna be able to afford to stay open. If you can't hire one damn nurse practitioner or physician assistant, your ass don't need to be open. All right, let's just say it like that. So for me, I'm gonna say a yes to having at least one medical professional.
The basic site. Needs, right?
The basic need of having one.
That's what this bill is about. Hey, do you guys want the basic needs in your facility? Yes.
Like. That's crazy.
Any health facility, we want the basic needs. Yes, I'm just curious who's voting, who's pushing the money against this. The owners of the dialysis facilities. We don't want to have to put licensed people in there. We got to spend money.
Well, let's read this from Steph because she got the inside track on this for sure. Each center is making almost $250 million per year. They will not close down if you vote yes. Trust me.
Oh, we don't want them to close down.
No, we don't want. We want them to have somebody on site. Stephanie, you know what I'm saying?
We want them to make 249 million, Stephanie.
Right.
50 million. You know what I'm saying? By hiring 100 people.
Right.
Because they're gonna spread that around.
That's insanity.
Wow,
that's scary. All right. Okay, so let's move on to the income tax for electric vehicles. Yo, they really trying to dig in this year. I told y'all these propositions becoming wild during the midterms because that's when they slip that shit in that you be thinking you didn't need to pay attention to. So, income tax for electric vehicles, a yes vote means that you would be voting to enact an additional 1.75 tax increase on the personal incomes on Californians who make more than $2 million per year in order to fund bigger subsidies to purchase new electric vehicles and expand electric vehicle charging infrastructure.
I heard $2 million a year. Yes. And hopefully I want to be that person making
a no vote means that you would be voting to keep income taxes as they are. Californians who make more than $2 million annually will not be subject to the additional tax. All right, so that's up to y'all, but hey, we want to move towards
rich.
Yeah, we want to move towards cleaning, climate change. This is a step. So I'll just leave it there, leave it at that. Proposition 31, ban on flavored tobacco products. Whew, this is going to be interesting.
Which number is this? I'm sorry.
This is Proposition 31.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, and I hope y'all got y'all ballots out like Ron, or got y'all those ballot books out so you can go through these with me. What this measure would do. Proposition 31 will make it illegal for stores and vending machines to sell flavored cigarettes, e-cigarettes, or vapes, including those flavored with menthol. The sale of hookah tobacco, some type of cigars, and loose leaf tobacco will not be affected if the ballot measure passes. The ballot measure defines a flavored tobacco product as one that has flavor apart from the regular tobacco flavor. Flavors would include mint, menthol, honey, chocolate, and vanilla, for example.
Specifically for us, bills that are specifically for us.
Yeah.
So I'll just add to this, Dane. I'm very biased to this, but I'm also changing my stance on what C. Dolores Tucker was saying about rap back in the day because I've grown wiser and older now. This would actually help our community because see, they only target stuff like Honey, Black and Miles. Black and Miles to us. See, we got to start looking deeper into these things. And unfortunately, I'm going to vote yes to this. We need to ban this. We need to start focusing on the things in our community that are harming us. That's not saying they're going to stop selling all tobacco. That's saying we're going to stop selling the flavor stuff that the kids like. You know,
Hmm.
we want to get your kids on it early. They like that grape flavor Kool-Aid, don't they? They're going to like these grape flavor Black and Mild. See, this is specific targeting to our community. And I'm telling everybody live, I'm biased to this because I was that person, but I was also ignorant to this. And at some point, you have to grow and be able to see what people are trying to help you with and who's trying to harm you. I would personally vote yes because this is trying to help us. This is taking away the marketing to our children, you know, because adults are going to do what they want to do. I know you adults, you smoke your cigarette, you do whatever you do, that's fine. But I do want to see there be a concerted effort to stop marketing things like this to our children. And so, who's promoting this? I don't know. I would only assume the person against it is the tobacco company. And I'm against anything the tobacco companies want, period. Hands down. They say yes, I say no. Because we know what they said. Does cigarettes harm you? No. Look you right in the eye. No. So
Right. Right. So, hey, Ron said the word on that. So that's the last of the state propositions. So y'all want we can go next. We can get into the city of LA before we go to the county. All right. So the city of LA, we got the mayor's race. Karen Bass and Wick Caruso have distinctly different positions on some key issues. They face off on the November ballot. Ron, I want to hear your take on this mayoral race.
wow. It's a tough one, you know, because for me, the mayoral race kind of juxtaposes the sheriff race to me. It's kind of running parallel because we have two candidates, both of whom have switched parties. You know, for me, it's kind of figuring out who's kind of done the work, you know, who's had the opportunity to do something and hasn't done it, as opposed to who's trying to come in and maybe provide a new way and show some sort of light. Um, this to me is the toughest one. I kind of have had an opportunity to figure out my sheriff stance, but this right here is the toughest. I really can't see myself not voting for a black woman. I'm just going to be honest with you. I've seen some of the marketing against her, but I also see some of the things she's done. I'm torn, Dame. I'm torn, but I can't see myself not voting for a black woman at this point, unless it's Candace Owens. I mean, let's just be obvious. like if you're
Well,
trying, if you have any sense of having tried, I'm
yeah.
willing to give you an opportunity
Well,
over
I'm
some
I'm,
other
I'm like
people.
you. I'm like you. I'm very torn on this race.
Right.
Very torn on this race. There are some good things about Karen Bass. There are also some good things that I've seen from Rick Caruso's camp and his campaign so far. My issues with Karen Bass are she's a part of, and we've talked about this before on this show. To me, she's kind of a part of that old guard.
Right.
She's a part of that old crew, Herb Wesson, Marquise, Mark Ridley Thomas, Holly Mitchell. She's kind of part of the old guard that I don't know if we need more of that
Right.
or if we need a little bit of change and a little bit of shakeup. So that's why I'm just a little bit torn on that because I know she's part of that old guard and that old black LA crew
Right.
that I feel like not all of them, but I feel like a lot of them have utilized the resources that they've gained for more self-serving interest than actually the interest of us,
Of the
the
people.
interest
And,
of the
and I lean
people.
on you for this, Dame. I lean on you and Quincy. I lean on people who have had more insight to that on this. And I'm glad you mentioned you're torn because even with that insight, you're still torn, which means you
Yeah,
you have the knowledge to decipher that this is hard. See, most people would just say something like I just said. That doesn't I can't even say what I'm going to do, people. I just
yeah,
said it's tough for me not to vote for a black woman. Now, I will add context to our people who have been in these positions with over the overall sort of aura of the system. You know, they've just been trying to make it in the system and they may have just seen that, you know what, no one's trying to help me, so I'm going to just do for me. I
Yeah.
want to give our people one opportunity within a cycle of now everybody's trying to help us. Because I think after seeing what the city council just did, people are really curious about what's happening with us. Because as you see, we're kind of losing numbers in our city council. We're losing. So the few people we have, I want to give one more opportunity. Like, look, you are on the clock. This is like Steve Nash coming into this season. I want to treat Steve Karen Bash just like Steve Nash. And hey, that may cost us, what is it, 2 years between mayoral terms, or we have
Yeah.
to recall her. But I'm more willing to give her that one more chance than to give somebody that just comes in with a ton of money telling me and grabbing all of our celebrities, grabbing all of our people, changing parties and saying, hey, I'm with y'all now. I get it now. I'm willing to give her that just more benefit of doubt than him. I see what he's doing. I see the stuff he's saying, but he's a developer. And I know developers. I know salesmen. I know what his ultimate goal for LA is. It ain't
Yep.
going to be to give property to black people. If he came to me and said, if I become mayor, I'm going to help y'all get that bid for that mall right there on King and Rodeo. I'm going to
Right.
make sure that those people who got a bid that was higher than the one they took, renege on that one they took for less and take your money and make sure you have something in your community. That's the developer I want. So, Rick, if you're listening, there's some things you can do to kind of sway our opinion because we need some developments too. And that specific location is one we want. Because I promise you, I'm with whoever wants to boycott that spot once it's made. We don't ever need to spend $1 at that location. A dollar if they allow what they're trying to do to happen. Because I was just a Taste of Soul. It's beautiful. That's our community. That's our home here. That's a good reflection of where we live and what we can be. I didn't like that. And if Rick can help with that, maybe. But for right now, I think the sister gets a little bit more of the benefit of that. I mean, I'm going to always, me,
Yeah,
I'm going to always
absolutely.
give us a little bit of benefit of the doubt. I don't like what Kanye's saying, but I'm going to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt because I know what he's under. I don't like, with all this stuff. But before I give someone else the benefit of the doubt, I've changed my thinking to where I'm going to always give us that benefit of the doubt first. And then, hey, sometimes I just got to deal with the consequence. You know what? She just wasn't a good candidate. You know what? I tried. This is why I'm not doing that next time, y'all. But that's just me. You know how I am. And I'd love to hear your take on that.
I agree with you. Like I agree with those sentiments. Let's let Rebecca chime in, another black woman. I hear you, Ron,
Right.
but Karen hasn't done anything. And I think that's where, a lot of us are like, you've been in there, baby girl. Like you've been in there, you had the position, like what's happening, what you doing? And that's what I'm afraid of. And I guess what I think, even if we do vote Karen Bass in, or or Caruso, I think we have to be more involved anyway to hold whoever is in there accountable to what we need. I think that's
Right.
another problem, Ron. Like we let these people, we vote them in, and then we let them fucking skate.
Right.
We let them skate. So it's easy for them to get away with doing the shit they doing. It's easy for you to have a racist, you know what I'm saying, representative on the board of supervisors and you know what I'm saying, all that stuff that
They
we've been
go
dealing
unchecked.
with.
Yeah,
Yeah, they go on and check. And what I've learned, now I don't know if people want to hear this,
we
but what
need to
I've
hear it.
learned
Say it. We
in
need to hear it.
California, the Democrats going unchecked are acting like Republicans. Because the Democrats know they will not lose no matter what, because we're such a liberal state. So they're kind of behind the scenes, guys, are no checks and balances in regards to making sure those resources get from the hood. Because what people also got to realize, a lot of rich Democrats are still rich white Democrats.
Correct.
Who don't have our best interest at heart.
Who are
So a
really
lot of those
Republicans
resources,
saying they're liberals. Who are really conservatives saying they're liberals.
Yeah, or
it's just a
moderate.
cool thing now to say I'm liberal.
The moderate
keep my
Democrats.
job. I mean,
Right.
just to keep my job.
Yeah.
I'm liberal. I had studied liberal arts, is what one told me. And
you know what I mean? Rebecca said her Scientology, and I'm sure it's a lot of propaganda too, but the words came out of her mouth and she didn't do well in debate. Yeah, I agree, Rebecca. Like I said, I think we got to hold whoever gets in there accountable we have to start applying pressure to whoever's in there instead of just getting in there, letting them be trash and be like, oh, they trash, let's vote them out. And then we vote somebody else trash in. That cycle is not going to change as long as on a local level, we got to build coalitions that when we go in there and sit down with the people, they know we mean business and we know like, hey, if you don't do what we telling you to do, we coming after you. And we have some entertainers with us to come after you. We have some people with big platforms to come after you. We have some people with some big guns in the nonprofit space to come after you. Like we have to build our own coalition that has enough power to make them feel like they have to, at least listen to some of the policies that we want. Right. So when the time comes, like, hey, if you don't do what you do, we coming hard and we're going to make your life hard for a re-election.
Well, I think you guys have done that with the sheriff, and I just want to commend both you and Quincy. I think that's what you've done with the sheriff race. You've made people hold them accountable. I don't know how many Black Democrats are kind of listening to what you guys are saying, but that's a perfect example of what we're referring to. It's just giving everyone an opportunity. It's being open. I'm going to hear you out. I don't care what you look like or color. Even if it's a sister running, Rick, we're going to still hear what you got to say because we know we may not be getting what we need from the sister. So we're going to hear you out. And if you come with some tangible items that we can say, okay, you know what, that's better than what we were getting, okay, we'll give you an opportunity. But a lot of times we just haven't been holding them accountable, Dame. And honestly, that falls on us, to be honest with
you. It does. No, it falls on us.
We can't blame nobody else.
Because what I've learned and what I've seen, Ron, a lot of us, there have been some of our skin folk who have had a seat at the table who haven't been pushing for us. They've been pushing for it themselves. Right. You know what I mean? Like, and that's got to stop. Or at least if we know somebody's at the table, we got to make sure they're at the table asking for the stuff that we need in the community.
Right. Not just for themselves.
Not just for themselves. All right. So let's move on to LA County Measure C. This measure would impose a tax on future cannabis businesses in incorporated parts of LA County, although such activities are currently prohibited. What your vote means, a yes vote means you support imposing the tax on cannabis businesses within the LA County, and no means you don't support imposing a tax. What you think?
I think it's important that the cannabis users understand that, look, if you guys want to stay in business, if you want things to stay the way they are, you're going to have to impose a tax. There's really no way cigarettes, alcohol, every other consumable that's considered recreational is being taxed. Mm-hmm. And it's because we're kind of just, we're getting paid to turn a blind eye to what you're doing. So with that said, we got to start being comfortable just as people saying, you know what, it costs to do what I want to do. Because doesn't this come down to that, Dame? I want to do that and do it freely. You have a governor that's already trying to fight for you not to get fired because of this. And so at a certain point, you have to say to yourself, well, you know what, everything I want to do, there's sort of a cost that comes with that. And in this case, having seen the battle that the cannabis industry has gone through to kind of get itself on its feet and try to grow in this state and provide some income and revenue to the state, there's just things that have to be said. And taxing cannabis is just another perfect form of that. I would just say any recreational thing that we have should be taxed, from gambling to alcohol to cigarettes to should be gas. But, those are things, necessities. But I'm with taxing all entertainment because I feel that we if we want to live in this state, it costs to live here. There's just some things, as we know, it just costs more to live here. And unfortunately, this will come out of your pocket. But hopefully the revenue that industry brings here can start helping our infrastructure, our schools. I'm real curious where that money in this cannabis industry is going to, because that's billions of dollars. But in general, yes, I'll just say it. I'm pro-tax people, and I plan to be one of those rich people getting taxed. But I feel if I earn more, I should be helping. That's just me. So I'm with taxing me more. Nowhere am I saying I'm rich, but I'm with, us that earn more or do more. And if that's what you're doing, you should give more, and then if you don't, maybe you ought to stop smoking. Maybe you ought to stop gambling. Maybe you ought to stop drinking. I know there's a lot of people that don't do any of that stuff and they don't care about these taxes. So, get your life right. As you get older, you'll start to understand what we're talking about, because this wasn't the young me. Let's keep this perfectly in. This
Yeah.
wasn't the young me, but this is a person that's just trying to grow. I've been around Dame and Quincy long enough to see that, you got to start looking at things a little bit different as you get older.
Rebecca said, "Where are the taxes going?" I actually don't have the answer to that because
And that's key.
I don't have the answer to that right now. That's because it's not given in the literature that I have or I have been reading, so I don't know exactly where the taxes for that are going. Let's go to the LA Superior Court judges. There are 12 judges vying for 6 seats. So let's talk about the candidates. All right. Abby Barron, Deputy District Attorney. List of endorsements. It's all on the campaign websites. Let's look about Abby Barron's
You're looking her
what her
online.
expertise is. Yeah, who supports the candidate? Mexican American Bar Association, LA Federation of Labor and Law, the Los Angeles Times.
They lost us right there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, I'm joking, you guys. That's an inside joke.
They don't have much on her.
Okay. So we got LA Times and we pretty much got the police association back.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's kind of how we can look at it. So she's pro police and she's pro media.
Yeah, pro status quo in that regards.
So who was Anna? What was Anna trying to do?
Anna Slotsky, yeah, deputy public defender. So she's coming from the public defender side.
Okay.
And anytime I have a rule of thumb, I usually vote for judges that were public defenders.
Exactly. Haven't seen because they get to see both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, they get to see both sides of the spectrum. Let's see who's endorsed her. Oh, she's been endorsed by Maxine Waters, Laura Friedman, Eunice Hernandez, Yasmin McCoran. Okay, so she got a lot of the Democrats.
Which Democrats, just as we letting y'all know, y'all notice who y'all endorsing, we starting to look into now.
Absolutely.
In the past, we would just, we get that little Democratic flyer, and that's what we voting on. Cool.
Yep.
We're looking at your flyers now, and we're looking into your candidates.
Oh, well, what I see, which is dope, she has a lot of endorsements from other judges.
Okay. So yeah, the people in her peers actually are endorsing.
She got a lot of judges and a lot of public defenders. Yeah. Like people who are actual judges now endorse her. So that's big. So do with what you like with that information.
And just keep in mind when we're voting for judges, look, we just want somebody that's gonna follow the law, to be honest.
Yeah. Office number 67, Deputy District Attorney, Fernanda Maria Barreto. And she's going against Elizabeth Lashley Haynes, another public defender. So, like I said, my rule of thumb, I tend to go with public defenders when they're running for judges. Deputy District Attorney for office number 70, Renee Yolanda Chang, and she's running against Holly Hancock, another deputy public defender.
Holly sounds familiar.
She does. Leslie Gutierrez, Deputy District Attorney, is running against Melissa Lyons, another Deputy District Attorney. So you have to go and look into their websites, guys, to pick which one of those you want. Office number 118, Melissa Hammond, Deputy District Attorney, is running against Carolyn Young Park, attorney.
Can I ask a question, Dan?
Yes, sir.
Just on the previous one, because this is where I get hung up on when there's two, like you said, two district attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
I usually lean towards the minority of the two. What say you?
I agree.
This?
No, I agree. I would do the same. I would do the same, but also, because that minority get tricky on your ass. and what they value.
It's my benefit of the doubt kind of game.
Yeah.
Like, who am I going to give the benefit of the doubt?
Well, for that, like for Leslie Gutierrez against Melissa Lyons, I would say go look at who endorsed them and whose endorsements align with your beliefs.
Perfect.
Because whoever endorsements align with your beliefs, that's who's going to, probably have more of your aligned interests. Because at this point, and I've learned this again. I'm just sharing with y'all a lot of things I learned. A lot of times, there's no perfect candidate. There's nobody who aligns 100% with what you want to do. So what you want to do is try to find those candidates that has the most alignment
Correct.
with you and what you want and what you need. And then you like, okay, right now, this is probably not a candidate I will vote for in a vacuum, but out of all the candidates here, our interests align the most here.
So pick your candidates like you pick your friends, right? I
Basically,
mean, look,
yeah.
as you get older, you start to weed out your friends. You know,
Yeah.
this person I like, I don't like doing, I don't like going to clubs. So I hang out with this person a little bit more. Make your
Yeah.
candidates like that. Hey, they're church going, you're church
Exactly,
going. You know what I'm
Rebecca.
saying? Yeah.
Exactly. She said, because after city council, we know all minorities don't support us. Exactly, Rebecca. And there it is. And there you have it.
But can I just add a caveat to that?
Yes.
Do you blame people for trying to help their people?
No,
I
no,
do
no.
not support what
Well,
they
this is
say
the
at
thing.
all. But
You can help your people, but you ain't got to shit on us.
is it in the way this society's designed, you almost have to shit on another minority because you're never going to be able to shit on them.
Which is
So
crazy. But
isn't
how
that
you
how
going?
they have it structured? Like we all
Yeah.
just kind of keep shitting on each other.
So dumb.
Yeah.
All right.
But
So those
continue. I'm
are
sorry for breaking you up your rhythm.
no. Oh, measure A. This is some bullshit. I'm finna say straight up. This is some bullshit because the the county board of supervisors, because they've been beefing with Alex Villanueva, has put a measure on the ballot where they want to be able to decide as the board of supervisors to remove the sheriff if they want to. Hell no.
After that LA County shit debacle, y'all don't get no power to
Hell
do nothing.
no.
We vote for everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
No. That's why we vote. We
Yeah. No.
vote. No,
No.
hell no. So LA
We liked it. Hey, can we make a vote to remove y'all when we want to?
right,
That's what we need. Let's
right,
make that measure. But
right.
no.
So
Hell no.
county measure A, y'all, is a hell no.
Yeah.
Okay? No to measure A. Period.
I
All
think
right,
Roland
now
made that perfect example for this thing. I'll make it real brief.
go ahead.
If you were if you're the treasurer of a church, if you're in the congregation and you have a treasurer over the church, who do you want managing your money? Do you want that person to be a person that don't understand what they're doing? In short, make sure the person that's handling your business has your best interest in line. You know, don't
Yeah,
sub it out to other people and other things. You know, let's bring this home, people.
bring it home. And speaking of which, pardon me, the last race, LA County Sheriff.
Hmm.
You have Alex Villanueva versus Robert Luna. Now, as some of you know, we've been talking to Alex Villanueva in the campaign. But what a lot of you don't know is we have also talked to Robert Luna and his campaign. And us talking to Robert Luna in his campaign is basically the thing that pushed us to talk to Alex Villanueva campaign and listen. We talked to Robert Luna and asked him very specific questions about policy. We asked him, "Would you be willing to close down Men's Central Jail and turn it into a mental health facility?" He said he couldn't answer that. He didn't have an answer. We asked him if he would take some of Eric Strong's policies that he had in regards to diversifying the sheriff's department, in regards to getting more black people into the sheriff's academies. He said he couldn't answer that. We asked him, well, we all came in as supporters of Eric Strong. Could you take on Eric Strong as your under sheriff to make sure that some of his policies get inflicted? He said he couldn't answer that. So he literally had no answers and no commitment. We asked about reinstating the sheriff's youth programs to bridge that gap, to get kids back off the streets and to get kids back into sports and little league football and baseball and all that. He said he could not answer that. Ladies and gentlemen,
Did
we
he
went.
answer any questions?
No, everything was like I can't. Basically, everything was non-committal. Everything was not committed. Literally, no policy was committed to, like none. And we kept. So then, even after we asked him all those questions and said, "Okay, cool. You can't commit to those. Well, tell us what your policies are." And all he said was, he'll get along with the board of supervisors. I won't fight with the board of supervisors.
I think he just lost that battle with the city council. He'll get along with the people that are in there. But no, I think Dame, and I think you guys kind of laid it out very well. You know, I think Quincy on his most recent post said it. Um, I'll set aside what you just said, Dane. Okay, he can't promise something he don't even know what he has access to when he gets there. But now let's dive into your history then. So if you can't give us your future, how about we dive into your past? And when Quincy asks a person, "Hey, look, I'm coming to you just as a man and saying, you know what? I know what me and you experienced wasn't a great thing. But what I'm asking you is I'm willing to overlook that and say now that you have an opportunity to move to a much larger role in a much larger county, managing many more people. What will you do differently than you did where you were?" That reaction to that question should have been handled in a much more professional manner. That's all I need to see. Because when my sheriff is getting upset, when my sheriff is reacting, I don't know what in the hell his deputies are going to do.
Right.
That's frightful. You know, when
Yeah.
you think you're in a city town hall meeting with a bunch of city people, pretty good names in there. Skip is in there. There's a few people that are in there that are prominent members of our community. And you allow that to be seen in public to a man who put aside all his anger towards you, which is rightfully so, to say, I'm here to do something better for my community. How are you going to change? Hey, let's put all of our beef behind. How can you change to make it better? And your response is to get upset, to say you're a liar, and then to try to apologize after the fact, off stage, you know. So for me, again, I want to commend Quincy because I think he did that for us. You know, not many people are willing to stick their neck out there and expose a person. And knowing the backlash and knowing the things that'll come back and how they'll try to slander your name and make it hard for you to do things. That was a gift to us. And if we as people don't see that because we think we know what's happening at the sheriff's, then good luck for us. We deserve everything we get because we
Yeah.
have soldiers out here fighting for us, showing us the inner workings, the things we don't normally even know about. And I take that seriously. And all I can say is I appreciate you. And I think there's plenty more like me that truly appreciate what you guys are doing, especially in this race, because the sheriff impacts us so greatly. I'm in Compton. We have the sheriffs in our neighborhood, you know, and they patrol plenty of our neighborhoods. Wink, wink. There's a reason for that. So we should have a word to that person, a direct connect to that person.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely. So to
thank you
answer
guys.
your question, Rebecca, what did he offer you? And I think you were asking that about Luna. Absolutely nothing. Like literally nothing. Like we kept trying to throw him life, like a lifeline. Like, okay, well, if you can't do that, if you can't, hire Eric Strong, can you take some of his policies? If you can't take some of his policies, can you do this one thing? Like literally, we kept trying to at least because look, I know you're not gonna get every single thing you asked for. So we were
Right.
in there trying to compromise, like, all right, well, and he wouldn't give us nothing. And I'm told it's because he feels like he doesn't need the black vote to win. So he doesn't care about trying to do anything to advance the black community, just to be 100% honest with you. um
Well, he doesn't need it if he has sort of our leaders
right,
endorse
back in the, yeah, which is
leaders we don't
stupid.
even know. Oh, you did? I never heard of them. You
Yeah, it's so
endorsed them?
crazy. They endorsed them and nobody been asking questions about them, but that's a whole other show.
Yeah.
So with that said, we had a chance to talk to Alex Villanueva about some policy, the exact same policy things. And these are some of the policies we got him to commit to for his second term. Expand training and mentorship and community-based policing. Continue to reduce uses of force. We talked a lot about the uses of force, and he already talked about the decrease that they had, but we talked about more things and more steps we could take to decrease those uses of force. Transform the culture of the department, regular meet and greets with the community to build relationships among the deputies in the community. That was a big thing for us because we said, look, Sheriff, you need to be on the ground with people more often. People need to have more access to you or somebody in high command so we can feel like there's a connection between the community and the sheriff's department, because that's not there right now. Right. Like people need to be able to say, hey, we know the sheriff is coming next week for a community meeting. Have all your ducks in a row, because and Ron will tell you, if somebody told us something, oh, the sheriff did, a sheriff in my neighborhood did that, we was going directly to the sheriff telling him, yo, this is the name of the sheriff and things have been happening behind the scenes. I can tell you that. I can
Right.
tell you that. Other things we talked to him about, Rebecca, and we asked, what would you do to build more diversity in the department? And he said he actually has a program called Hometown Heroes RUN, where his goal is to get 15% African American recruits into the sheriff's department. He want to keep about a clip of 10% in the department, and he wants 33% female recruits in all the academies. We asked him about rebuilding the youth activities, just like we asked Luna. He said that was a great idea, and he said he made a mistake because they had to take money from that to add more deputies. He said, but we should have found another way to do it. He said because he realizes now how important that is, how important those programs were, and have been to the community.
He admitted making a mistake.
Yeah, he did. He said that
out
was
his mouth.
Yeah, out his mouth.
You heard it.
I heard it. He said it to me directly.
That's character.
He said
you can admit you made a mistake.
He said I made a mistake. He said we needed more deputies because they had a hiring freeze. So we were trying to find places to find money to hire more deputies for the streets. He said, and that's one place that I shouldn't have took the money from. I should have found another way.
I can agree with him.
Yeah. And he said they want to expand the advisory council across all county regions, which means like how me and Quincy have access to him. He wants to expand the council where all across the city there's a Dame and a Quincy in every region to be able to talk to him about these same things, right? And to continue with in-person town halls. We talked to him about like what he did in Venice with the homelessness. We want to see if he could do it here in Compton and Gardena. And he did agree that he wants to tear down Men's Central Jail and turn it into a mental health institution. And we even talked about mental health resources for deputies that deal with trauma and just deal with daily shit. We talked about that as well, and he was open to all those things. But like I said, the things that I just said, not only he's committed to, we have it in writing from him that he's committed to it. So
that's what was released as well.
Yes,
they have like a list of the things that they want to do, so they put it into their marketing.
Yeah, this is in. Yeah, if you look at their the latest second term plan for Alex Villanueva, it's all these things that me and Quincy asked him to implement. Is on.
Come on, talk your shit, man. Stop being humble, man. Y'all out here trying to be humble and shit, man. Y'all talk y'all shit. Y'all out here getting shit done, and people need to know that. Yeah, thank you. That's what I can say from us. Thank you.
So that's
so
what we
all
are.
Gonna vote for. Yeah, y'all gonna vote for somebody that just listed all this stuff that because if he doesn't, you didn't do that, you didn't do that, you didn't do that.
Exactly. Like we can go right in there and hold him accountable if
Yeah.
So
and again, I think we all know, everyone knows we're biased. We Quincy's our friend. And people don't like but I just don't like when good people are done wrong. I don't care if Quincy was Latino, gay, or whatever. Hearing that story.
Well, Quincy was kind of just the gateway into a whole bunch of other stories that I've heard.
Correct.
That Luna was unfortunately a part of. But like I said, that's a whole fucking show of its own. But we just wanted to give y'all the information on the candidates, give y'all the information on the propositions. I hope we did that. If y'all know anybody who has questions about these propositions, send this show to them. Share this show with them on Messenger. Share this show on Facebook. Share the show. Let them know, like, hey, I know you had questions about those propositions. Well, they just walk through them so you can make the decision. Because again, we need to get more engaged in our midterms, people. And even after that, my people, we need to get engaged in the process after midterms of holding these people accountable when we vote them or let them get into office. All right. Thank you, Stephanie, for tuning in. I appreciate you, making sure that we stayed on our P's and Q's and got this show done today. I appreciate it. So we'll see y'all after the election. We'll have a conversation then. We'll see. Yeah.
Vote people. Or they gonna vote for you. I mean, again, you've seen me change in the show, but you either vote or they gonna vote for you. And they like clean water in their neighborhood. They like dialysis facilities with people that actually have licenses and stuff like that.
They vote for what they want and they get what they want.
And this is just locally. We don't know what happens nationally. Locally, we can do this.
Yeah, but on a local level, we can do better, y'all. We can take care of it. Rebecca said, "Is that Ron Wilson?"
You're just now figuring that out.
It's growth. It's growth. Ron,
and just keep in mind, They banned me on Facebook, y'all. So this is the only place y'all gonna see me for the next month. I'll be back next month. They banned me.
And they was trying to ban us from the show earlier, so we had to
Yeah.
hop on and get back on because we trying to do the work, and they don't want us to do the work. They don't want us to give y'all the information, but we gonna give it to you. So we
And we love
appreciate y'all. Yeah, we need y'all. Make sure you go out and vote. Make good decisions, man. We one bad decision away from being a third world country at this point. So,
And get out and vote or don't say shit. How
and
about
there it
that?
is. We'll end
If
on
you
that
ain't
note. We'll end on that note. Next time, y'all. Uncle Radio. Thank you.